being single is honestly, this is why so many men are single too, is because that's the easiest thing that you could possibly be doing, because you're not having to commit yourself, and it's not just the aesthetic things like putting on makeup, because sometimes some girls will put on a whole thing of makeup and they stink. Who were they to be in charge of your happiness, girl? Go figure out something that makes you happy. Boys only want you for that one thing. What is up, my Ambers? Welcome back to my channel. As you guys have read from the title, we are gonna do 25 things I've learned before the age of 25. I am currently 24. I turned 25 in 3 months. So these are just some life lessons that I've learned. I hope I can help anybody out, even if you're older and you haven't learned some of these things. Hopefully this video is insightful and can help some of you, and maybe it will, you know, aid some of you guys in your journey of life so that you don't have to go through some of the things that I've already experienced. So some of these are like bigger topics to discuss, and some of them are just like small things that I've learned. The first thing, and one of the most recent things that I've learned, is that everyone needs a single season. And I was always the boy crazy girl who was boy crazy in high school and whatever, always had a crush or something going on. It was a sense of like needing to be validated by a boy. And I say boy because I was younger when this started. I never truly had like a single season. Like from like high school until the age of 21, I was always super boy crazy, always had a boyfriend or something like that, and just never allowed myself to come into my like who I am and what I like, and not like what a man thinks or like anything like that. So I just recently went through my single season and for about 2 years, and it has literally made me grow so much. I grew more than I even thought that I needed to grow, girl. Like I finally was able to really come into like who I am and the things that I like and the things that I like to do and the boundaries and standards that I have for myself. Like it literally just made me grow so much as a woman. I feel like it's so crucial for everybody, man or woman, to go through that singleness season, because if you continue hopping from relationship to relationship, you're never gonna know who you are. You're also not gonna be healed if you're hopping from relationship to relationship. A singleness season is just mandatory. Everyone needs to have one. I just feel like it's so crucial. You really come into who you're supposed to be and you figure yourself out, and at the end of the day, that's what's most important, because aside from whoever you're in a relationship with, you have to live with yourself. And if you don't know who you are aside from the partner that you have, you are going to be struggling, girlfriend. So everyone needs a singleness season. Just time to figure out what your hobbies are. What do you like? What do you not like? Getting your body right, just going to the gym, working out, getting your mind right, reading books, like all those things are so important. Number 2 is, I have them written down, so I'm reading off of it. It says, your everyday life is a reflection of your actions / habits, which is so true. Like we all the time want to point the finger of why our life is going like this, or why we're at this terrible job, or whatever, but really it comes down to, what are you prioritizing? How are you spending your time? Are you mindlessly scrolling on TikTok? Are you just waking up late right before you have to go to work and rolling out of bed? And are you eating junky, fatty foods? What are you spending your time doing? Because your life and the way that you present yourself is a direct reflection of who you are and what you spend your time doing. And like I feel like sometimes like it's so easy. That's the easiest thing that you could do, is put the blame on somebody else. But once you realize, wait, my life is like this because I'm being lazy, or I'm procrastinating, or I am putting others over myself, that's when you realize like, oh, my life is the way it is because this is what I prioritize. One of the books about habits that you guys have probably heard a million times is Atomic Habits. I honestly need to reread it, but also just something like, if you don't want to read the book, something to constantly remind yourself of is that there is a cause and effect to everything. If you do something, there's going to be an effect to that, whether it's long term or short term. And also another thing to keep in mind is like, okay, most of the time the things that are good for you mean that you have to sacrifice that temporary satisfaction, that short-term satisfaction, for long-term results, if that makes sense. When you're really craving something and you want to eat a whole bag of Albanese gummies, me, short term, that sounds like a good idea because I want it now and it's gonna make me feel good. But then after I eat the whole bag, I'm like, dang, like I could have went and ate dried mango, or I could have ate fruit or something like that, which would help me out long term, because I'm putting food in my body that's gonna supply nutrients and not just diving into that craving that I've been craving for myself, if that makes sense. sense. Also, another thing to think about is whatever actions you're taking is a vote towards the person that you're going to become. And I think about that constantly. And something that really scares me is when I look at my screen time and I divide it up into hours of the day and I conjoin it all together and I see how many days out of a week that is. It's scary to think about. And I just feel like our phones is going to be like the downfall of our generation, because like, yes, they're so helpful, but at the same time, like they're so addictive and harmful. And what social media pushes is so scary for like our children, our youth, and everything like that. So that's like besides the point. But and then number 3 kind of ties in with number 2, and it says what you do with your time determines everything. And that's so true, because what are you doing with your time? You know what I'm saying? Like, it's so easy to just sit there and go on Netflix. And don't get me wrong, I do feel like there are times where we should be able to relax and watch reality TV if we want to, or do whatever. But that's when we have those rest days. On the days where we know that we should be doing something and we're not doing it, that's when it becomes an issue. Because it's like when people always complain like, oh, my body looks like this, but you also don't even take not even a 5-minute walk every single day, and you also are eating foods that are terrible for your body. What are you doing with your time, and what decisions are you making? Because whatever you're doing with your time and the decisions that you constantly make are creating the person that you are. And something that I've always dealt with is running late all the time. And it's because I would wake up late and I wouldn't give myself enough time to get ready, but the selfish part of me always feels like I have to be presentable, so I would take my time to get ready, and I would use the better late than ugly, y'all know that saying, and I would like show up like a little bit late, even if it was like 6 to 7 minutes late. And it's like, girl, if you went to bed earlier, which I've been doing, I've been going to bed at like 10:30 or 11 and waking up at like 5:30 and 6, and I will have so much time that I'm like, you mean to tell me that I've been having all this time in the world and I thought I had none because of my stupid actions that I was making? Like, you have to think this way. Okay, number 4 that I learned before I turned 25 is that you should wait to get tattoos. I'm currently going through tattoo removal right now for this tattoo, and I have a Playboy bunny on my hip, but I'm really hoping that once I get some things sorted out that I can start on my other tattoos, because I would honestly just rather have none. And this is a personal decision. It has nothing to do with my relationship with God. Not that that's anyone's business, but I got tattoos at 20 years old and I got 7 of them in 1 year. I have not gotten another tattoo since. They're just such trendy, like ugly pieces on me. I literally hate them. So if I could tell anyone, at least wait till you're 25. Like, if you want to get, because you got to think this is going to be on your body for the rest of your life. At least wait until you're 25. If you have a tattoo idea that you really, really want, just wait 2 to 3 years. Wait 3 years and see if you still want it. And I know it's a part of that, like, waiting, that like short-term satisfaction. Like, we want that satisfaction instantly, and it's like, if you would just wait, you probably wouldn't have to go through thousands of dollars of tattoo removal when you get 24 or 25, because that's just something that you have to think about. And I can show you guys my tattoos, but like, this is just, it's not who I am, and I feel like it just looks so tacky on me. Not that I have anything against these tattoos, I just personally would rather have a blank arm than to have this, because this is just so like, what is going on, girl? But I do plan on removing all of them if possible, but I don't know how possible that's gonna be, because this one has like scarring, girl. Like, it's like 3D if you touch it. The 5th thing that I have learned is that there are seasons for hobbies, there's seasons for jobs, there's seasons for friends, there's seasons for relationships. Okay, there's going to be seasons for everything, and sometimes, a lot of the times, it hurts so bad to like let go of stuff. But if you stay in the same place for the rest of your life, you are literally never gonna get anywhere. Okay, and sometimes you have to take that leap, and you have to just pray and hope that the new season that you're coming into is better than the last one. And a lot of the times it is. It's just hard to come out of what you're used to and like have the faith to just continue going into a new season. But I have been through friendships that I adored, but also I just knew couldn't go with me in the next chapter, which is like, no, what is the word? It has nothing to do with the old jobs. It has nothing to do with the old friends. It has nothing to do with the old relationships or anything like that. But when something no longer serves you and you know it is time to go, you have to to pack your bags and go, because if you don't, you end up becoming so unhappy with yourself and you're doing things for the comfortability of other people and not yourself. And I have had to go through that multiple times. So now if I know that something is not right for me, my spirit, my soul, I'm leaving. And it might be selfish, but it just is what it is. Number 6 is that someone somewhere, regardless if you're on social media or not, is always going to have something negative to say. People are miserable. People will spend all of their time scrolling on social media to say whatever they have to say about somebody else's lives, because they are projecting things that they are going through in their personal life that they can't heal. They're going through things that they probably have just stuffed so deep inside of them that they don't even know why they want to say some of the nasty things that they say, but someone's always going to have something to say, okay? You could do something because you think it's going to be the right thing, then people will attack you for doing something, and then when you do the opposite thing because you're like, okay, they didn't like when I did that, they're always going to have something to say. And that goes for family, that goes for friends, someone, your grandma, your mom, somebody's always going to have something to say, always. So you have to get so used to being comfortable in the decisions that you make for yourself that you don't care what other people have to say, especially when you have evaluated it and you have really thought it out and it's not just some impulsive decision. Sometimes, you know, advice coming from older people and, you know, wisdom that they have is good advice, but sometimes there are nasty, negative people that are always going to have something to say, and there's nothing you can do to please them. They can't even please themselves. So it's like talking to a brick wall, girl, or driving to a dead end, literally. Number 7, people will treat you the way you allow them to treat you. So if you are a people pleaser, which I have definitely been before, and you continuously allow people to walk all over you and you don't set boundaries for yourself, people are going to run you over. If you do not set boundaries in your relationship and leave after somebody cheats on you the first time, what do you think they're going to keep doing? And that can be so hard to hear, but it's so true. If somebody has cheated on you 3 times and every time they cheat on you, you say, I'm gonna leave next time you cheat on me, and you never leave, they're going to keep doing what they want to do because they know that you don't have the self-worth, you don't have the self-love enough to be like, actually, no, I'm gonna leave, because who are you to cheat on me? And that's something that's so, like, I understand it, and I understand wanting to stay with someone even if, you know, they are cheating or whatever, but at some point you have to put yourself first, and at some point you have to tell people no. At some point you have to tell people you don't care what they have to say, and at some point you literally have to shut the door in people's faces. It's going to seem selfish, but if you don't want to be in the same situation, if you don't want to continue getting walked all over, if you don't want to continue getting used and abused, you have to set firm boundaries, and you have to let people know that they cannot cross certain lines with you, and when they do, you have no problem closing the door in their face and literally walking in the other direction, and you will not bat an eye at it because you don't care. You love yourself too much to deal with people's foolishness. And that's that, girl. Number 8 is that this is like a girly thing. Number 8 is, aside from like the relationship things and everything like that, is that basics need to come first when building your wardrobe. For the longest time, I bought such trendy pieces that I thought were so cute, things that like didn't even make sense, and every time I would get invited to something, I would get so stressed out because I'm like, I literally have nothing to wear. I hate my wardrobe. I don't understand how I keep buying Shein and Fashion Nova and all of these clothes. My wardrobe still does not look the way that I want it to look. Like, how do I keep buying $300 orders and my closet and wardrobe still sucks? And the thing is, girl, is that you have to buy those basic pieces. You know, when you're shopping and you see like a basic black tee and you're like, I don't need that, because who's just gonna wear a black tee? There's gonna be a moment you wish you wore a black tee, but no, you have a cropped sequin rhinestone tank top and you just got invited to a baby shower. You need to have those basics in your wardrobe. Neutral color shoes, neutral color tops, neutral color tanks, neutral color bras and underwears, neutral color dresses. All of those are going to come in such handy, and you can mix and match them with each other because there's neutrals. And then once you have the basic skeleton of a wardrobe in your closet, that's when you can buy like the cute funky blue sweater that you want to wear, or the zebra print corset top that you want to wear. That's how you build a wardrobe. And I'm still working on this, but slowly but surely we're getting better over time, girl. But my wardrobe now is better than it ever has been. Number 9, okay, I'm gonna have to go through these a little bit faster or we're gonna be here all day. Number 9 is that exercise and movement changes you for the better. And I know y'all are probably so tired of hearing this, but that's why you feel like you're in a rut. That's why you feel like you don't want to get out of bed. bed, that's why you are having all those negative thoughts in the morning. If you would just get up in the morning, put on a t-shirt and some shorts, girl, and go walk outside, and get up early if you have to go to work. Go to bed the night before early. Get up early before you have to go to work. Set yourself up for success for the day. Get in a 30-minute walk. Get in a 10-minute walk. Literally, any movement is better than no movement. You have one body for the rest of your life. How are you going to treat your body? They say your body's a temple and you need to treat it that way, but some of us just don't. And I was really guilty of it. Like if I had any craving, girl, I was indulging. If I ever felt like not doing something, I would not do it. And we just cannot be doing that, girl. And you just need to do baby steps. And I didn't play any sports in high school. I didn't play any sports in middle school. I never was athletic. I always hated running. And now I go to the gym every single day except for Saturdays and Sundays. And I literally make sure that I'm getting my steps in on Saturdays and, well, mostly Saturdays, because Sundays, girl, is normally like my rest day. But just moving your body is going to change how you feel. It's going to make you feel better. Drinking your water is going to make you feel better. And I know you're tired of hearing people say, wouldn't you rather look in the mirror and be happier with yourself and the way that you look than keep hating yourself every single day? You would feel better if you even just went for walks, girl. You don't have to have a gym membership. You could buy some little dumbbell sets on Amazon, but you have to be moving your body. It thrives off of that movement. So not moving it is literally just killing it more and more and more every single day, which we're all gonna die one day. We know that. But if you can have a healthy body, a healthy heart, a healthy mind, think about the two lifestyles. You're going to feel so much better if you're living a healthier lifestyle. Number 10 is that complacency and comfortability is going to kill you. In 2023, that was like right after my TikTok had blown up and like my YouTube and everything like that, I got so comfortable, y'all, that it was like I had reached my goal of like working on social media, which I have wanted to do since I was a young girl. I didn't have any goals after that, so I got so comfortable and I was like, this is just how it's going to be for the rest of my life. But the moment you start to get comfortable is the moment everything starts to fall apart, because not fall apart, but things just get very stale, if that makes sense, because you're not pushing forward. You're not trying to get yourself out of a certain situation. And that's why I say there's seasons for everything. Certain jobs, like there was so many times, like, girl, leaving Zaxby's was hard for me because I had worked there for 3 years. But at a certain point, it's like, okay, I deserve more than this. And there's always going to be more out there. You have to tell yourself, like, okay, I don't know what this is going to do for me and it might not serve me, but on the other side, it also might be way better than where I'm at now. After I went to Zaxby's, then I went to go work at Walmart, and I worked at Walmart. Then I worked my way up to a supervisor. And then I was like, you know what? I'm doing way too much as a 19-year-old mom to be getting paid $15 an hour to literally bust my butt, break my back, unloading 18-wheelers, freaking managing 40, 60-year-old men. And it was not a rewarding job. And I knew that I was worth so much more than that. So then I went from Walmart to Hooters, and I started making so much more at Hooters. And then after Hooters, I went to bartending, and I made so much more bartending than I did at Hooters. It was like every time I took that leap of faith, I always started to make more and more and more and more. It's not always about the money either. But at the same time, people are going to use you and abuse you if you allow them to do that, if you stay comfortable with where you're at. It all ties into each other. You have to set those boundaries. You have to take those leaps of faith. There's seasons for everything, and you cannot get comfortable, because when you get comfortable, things get really stale. Number 11 is that your words hold the power of life and death. And I know you guys have always heard it, and it says it in the Bible. The power of life and death is on the tongue, and it's so true. Think about what you're telling yourself. When you wake up in the morning, what are you speaking over yourself as soon as you wake up? Are you like, oh, today's Tuesday, we have 5 more days till Friday? Or, oh my gosh, like I have so much to do today, I literally cannot even, I look so ugly right now, I look so fat, like I cannot believe that I look like this, like oh my gosh, today's just gonna be terrible, my hair looks bad. Like, I understand having some bad thoughts here and there, but you have to like snatch those thoughts up and literally be like, okay, how can I work this out in my favor to make me feel better today? Because I'm not trying to continue making myself feel worse. If you continuously have all of those negative thoughts, they are going to literally rot your mind to the point where you don't even feel safe in your own body. So every day you're just always in flight mode, always in fight or flight mode, and you're just an irritated person. So make sure that you are so careful with what you say. That's also why they say be careful what you wish for, because sometimes we'll say, I wish we had this, or I wish we had said that, and then we get it and we're like, wait, that's not what I meant. Because whatever you are telling yourself holds so much power. Because what is one of the biggest ways that we communicate to each other? Through our words, through what we come out of our mouth. You just have to be so careful. That's why you also need to be careful about not only the way that you speak to yourself, but the way that you speak to other people. Because sometimes, like, if you're in a relationship or something can come off the complete wrong way that somebody meant it, and they were like, oh my gosh, like, I did not mean that way. But even though they say that, it still hurts, because words hurt people, and they can hurt yourself also. And you have to continue to uplift yourself, because nobody else is going to do it for you. And you are going to be in your little body for the rest of your life. So you might as well come to terms with yourself and appreciate yourself, and appreciate that you have breath in your lungs, and speak life over yourself. That is the difference between somebody with a poor, terrible mindset who literally just speaks negative stuff over themselves, and somebody who wakes up and they're like, actually, I woke up today. Actually, the sun is shining. Okay, actually, there's clouds and might be rain outside, but at least the plants outside are getting watered. At least that I'm able to breathe today. At least I'm able to go to the gym and move my body. This is the difference in the way that you speak to yourself. One of them is literally going to make you sink all the way to the bottom, and the other one is going to keep you afloat, or you're going to be on top. And that's where you want to be, and that's what you want to continue telling yourself every single day. It's not just one time thing. Not just after you watch this video. You might start to, recognize what you're saying to yourself, but you have to continue that, and you have to keep speaking life over yourself every day that you wake up. I am beautiful. I do deserve to be loved. But also, you can't just speak things. You also need to put them into fruition. But you guys get what I'm saying. Number 13 is that, oh wait, I just realized I skipped 12. Y'all, I skipped 12. I thought I had a 12, but I don't. Number 13 is that forgiveness is necessary. And this is something that so many of us can overlook, but that feeling of just like bitterness, envy, hatred is not a good feeling, and you cannot continue your life. I mean, you can, but it's going to affect you in other ways. Forgiving somebody doesn't mean that you're not going to have those feelings, but giving it up, giving that feeling up, that weight, that nasty weight up, and just realizing that, okay, I have made these mistakes too, and I need to really just allow grace for this person and what they've done for me. And sometimes it's going to be hard because people have committed murder and all these other crazy things, but just realizing that you have to at least be willing to forgive someone. And especially in relationships, like, forgiveness is so necessary, because when you don't forgive someone, you just hold that thing against them, like, oh, they did this to me, so I can't stand them for da-da-da-da. But it's like, if you would just let that go, like, you would feel so much better. Like, have you guys ever, like, when you were in school or something, just had like this, I don't know, like, maybe it was a little bit of like girl drama, catty drama or whatever, and then you ended up actually talking to the person, and it wasn't ever as bad as like that feeling that you had, and you're like, I'm sorry, like, I don't know why I felt that way, and then you both feel so much better. Like, what, don't you like that feeling so much better than like, oh my gosh, there she is, like, gonna be in the hallway, like, da-da-da-da. Like, some stuff is just not that serious. Some stuff is, but like, you have to be willing to forgive other people, because other people have forgiven you. Number 14 is, you will never want to do what you don't want to do. Going to the gym, eating healthy, waking up early, all of these things, going for a walk, you're never going to want to do it. What are the effects of doing what you want to do? Short term, putting a little bit of weight on, becoming irritable because you keep waking up late because you're not disciplined enough to go to bed at a certain time and put your phone down and get off TikTok. All of these things have an effect, and you're never going to want to do the things that you don't want to do. And that's where discipline comes in. Like, so many people think that there's just some magic wand that they're supposed to poof, like, oh, I'm gonna want to do this today, I'm gonna want to go to the gym today. No, you're not gonna want to go. But that's where the discipline comes in, because it's like, okay, I don't want to go, I really don't, but I'm gonna feel terrible if I don't go. It might feel good short term because I can make any excuse in the world, but at some point you have to be like, actually, what I want in this moment is not best for me right now, so I'm gonna do what I don't want to do. And that's something that, like, even as simple as putting lotion on after a shower, girl. I always feel like I have to put lotion on after a shower, but sometimes I'm so tired after my shower that I'm like, I don't want to do this right now. And then because I told myself I don't want to do it, I'm like, oh, you have to do it because you told yourself you don't want to do it. And sometimes you have to trick yourself that way, because you're never going to want to do what you don't want to do. But doing those things that you don't want to do is what is going to separate you from the rest of the normal, ordinary people who just indulge in bad habits and decisions and things things like that. Number 15 is that you have to look inward and you have to be able to hold yourself accountable. I know that like in today's age with like social media and everything like that, like the finger is always pointed on somebody else and everyone's so worried about their feelings and what somebody did to them and like da da da. But also you have to literally look inwards, look in the mirror and think like, what have I done for all of my last 3 relationships to be like that? Or what have I done for that person to act that way? Because it's so easy for us to be so blindsided by the things that we have done to other people, because it's so easy to point the finger at somebody else when you have 4 other fingers pointing back at you. It's so easy. That's the easiest thing you can do, is blame somebody else. But the moment you get to the point where you can look at yourself in the mirror and you can say, actually, I was acting like a bee, or actually, I was being selfish, or I was being a little bit egotistical. That's when the real change happens in yourself, because so many people lack that in today's society. And there are so many narcissistic people walking around not even realizing that they are actively hurting people, and they wonder why their relationships suck. They wonder why everyone does the same thing to them, and it's because you're not holding yourself accountable and you have these toxic traits that you have not decided to look in the mirror and dissect and fix and heal. And that's why healing is so important, because if you don't heal and look inwards and finally think about things that you have done to other people, you are going to continue to put the blame on everyone else, and everyone else is always going to be the problem, and then you're always going to be unhappy because everyone else is the problem. Like, no, actually, you should think about some of the things that you have done. You should think about some of the things that you have done to other people. How would that make you feel? And then that's when the reality sets in. You're like, oh wait, I was wrong in that moment. That takes so much accountability and vulnerability to do. And so many people lack that so much. Grown people, young people, people in their 20s, 30s, 40s, 50s. So many people are not able to hold themselves accountable and say, I'm sorry, because they're so stuck in their own ways. They think that they are perfect human beings. And I used to always get told, you think you're so perfect, you think you're so perfect. And I would be like, I never said that, so I don't know what you're talking about. But that's what I gave off. I always gave off, I'm not wrong, I'm never gonna say that I'm wrong. And I know it's so normalized for women to always be like, I'm always right, I'm always right, I'm always right. But at the same time, you have to look inwards and think about some of the actions that you are making. And yes, we need to be in our femininity, but sometimes you are acting like a B word. Sometimes you are being a little selfish. Sometimes you should kind of lean into when somebody tells you that they're feeling a certain way. You can't just say, oh, well, I'm sorry I made you feel that way, but I was trying to do X, Y. Like, no, listen to what other people are telling you. Think about what they're saying. If you made somebody feel a certain way, they can't help that you made them feel that way. So what did you do to make them feel that way? And try to see how you can change it, because it's so easy to be the narcissist and be like,
well, I didn't do that, I didn't mean to do that, I didn't mean to make you feel that way, or whatever.
I'm sorry that you feel that way. That's not genuine, and you sound stank. Next, number 16 is that you are only in a competition with yourself. This is coming from someone who constantly used to compare myself to other women, to other people on social media. My whole entire life, growing up, I always compared myself to other people. I just now at the age of 24 have come to a place where I'm like, I'm in a competition with myself. I want to be a better version of myself, the better version of my old self. And the version of me now is also in a competition with the future better version of myself, because I want to be like her. You know what I'm saying? Like, I can't change who I am. I can't change my face. I can't change my body. I can't change any of that. I can't change the situations I'm in to be like someone else, because that is their life. That is what they have going on. That is how they were born. So the only thing that I can do is pour so much into myself that I am competing with the old version of, and I am not competing with anyone else, because everyone else does not matter, and everyone else has beautiful and ugly traits about them, no matter how beautiful some people may seem. Okay, I know y'all have watched Love Island. I know y'all have watched all of those shows, and somebody could be so beautiful or so cute and they open their mouth and you're like, you're actually the ugliest person I've ever seen in my life. The same thing applies. So also, everything is not what it seems. Somebody can be so beautiful, like I just said. Just because they are so beautiful aesthetically doesn't mean that they have a good heart the way that you do. Certain things like that. Like, you have to realize that you are in your own lane. That's why they say mind the business that pays you, because everyone else is on their own journey. You're never going to be someone else. So I really hope that helps. We gotta get faster. Number 17 is that gossiping is only gonna make you feel worse. And I know sometimes it's so easy to fall into what is being pushed on TikTok or what your friends are sending you or whatever, but gossiping is so much worse than you really think it is. Like, that is the easiest thing. One of the easiest things for you to do is dissect other people's lives on TikTok and sit there and pick people apart. That is so easy to do when you are a miserable human being because you thrive on picking other people apart like vultures. And when other people send you stuff, think about that. The next time somebody sends you something that's like tea or whatever, you are a vulture. You are thriving on something that is dead. Like, that is nasty. And I still actively deal with this. I still am working on, when somebody brings something up, not gossiping. And sometimes it's a little bit hard. Also, like, with the whole like TikTok and canceling thing, like, y'all have to realize that, like, you remember when we were younger and people would say, don't believe everything you see on the internet? Some of y'all need to like refresh that into your mind and realize that, like, some of the things that are being pushed on social media are based on people's feelings and are not true to who someone is or whatever. Just because somebody does social media for a career does not mean, and this is like for content creators because people get canceled left and right, does not mean that you know who that person is, and does not give you the authority to dictate someone a good or bad person because you don't know who that person is. So give some people some grace and realize that gossiping does not make you cute. It's not cute. It's not. So number 18 is getting ready is always going to make you feel better. I know the natural girlies are going to come at me with swords and knives for this one, but even if it's putting your hair in a slick back bun with some, washing your face with some moisturizer, some sunscreen, some lip gloss or lip balm, you're gonna feel better than if you rolled out of bed looking like a rat. Like, I'm sorry, but like, you just are. And there's been some times where like I've taken Prince to school and I didn't get to like do my hair, or I'm in like sweats or whatever, and I feel like a rat. I look like a rat. And if I would have just woke up and been able to put my hair in a cute little hairstyle, even if I don't have on makeup, and just put on something that's like a little athleisure or something that looks like we can make something shake, like, you're gonna feel better than if you just woke up and rolled out of bed. And other people are going to respect you more for the way that you appear because other people treat you the way that you treat yourself. Number 20 is that everyone should not get access to your body. There are so many effects to temporary people getting access to your body, like STDs, like soul ties, like pH imbalances and things like that. And some of these things, like STDs, are lifelong. You cannot get rid of them. Soul ties you have to be broken from, which is really hard to do. Coming from someone who got pregnant at such a young age, I got pregnant at 18, I had my son at 19. I love my son so much. He is literally the best thing to happen to me. But at the same time, aside from my son, the things that I have had to deal with just with having a child at a young age and not being married and trying to be grown have made me literally be so careful with who I allow to touch my body, with who I allow to have access to my body, because my body is my temple. And for any young girls out there, I remember what it was like to be in high school, and everyone from the time that I got to be a freshman was basically a game to see like who could lose their virginity first, who could be this grown first. And like, that's so sick and disgusting because there are so many effects to people who are not together and like just young kids like doing the do with each other. I'm trying to keep this censored for YouTube, but there's so many effects to that. You can literally get an STD that you could never get rid of for the rest of your life because you were falling into the peer pressure of having to like lose your virginity first or whatever it is that is being so pushed. Like, no, you do not want to give these boys y'all remember when your parents were like, boys only want you for that one thing? They're not lying to you, girl. They only want you for that one thing. And then when you get at the age, some women are in their 30s and still haven't gotten to this point, but once you get to the age where you realize like, ew, actually I do not want anything to do with you and your nasty freaking germs and disgusting negative spirits to like come into my holy temple, until you get to that point where you literally value yourself and value your self-worth so much that you feel repulsed to even think about somebody coming like in any of that vicinity. Like, I'm telling you guys right now, please respect your bodies, please respect yourself. Like, I just wish that, you know, when I was in high school, and maybe I wouldn't have listened if I got this advice, but like, you are going to feel so much better if you wait until you are able to give yourself to the person that is meant for you in marriage. Like, when you know that you're going to marry somebody, and I'm not just talking about about a boyfriend that you've been with since 6th grade and you're in freshman year. No, I'm talking about once you are out of high school, out of college, really looking to date, to marry, and everything like that, because some people are not going to wait till marriage, and I understand that, and waiting till marriage is honestly super freaking hard. Just be so careful about who you let into your body, okay? These people are nasty. These people want you for one thing only. Having seg with a man is not going to make him want you more, girl, if he didn't want you to begin with, okay? Just letting y'all know, okay? Be so careful about who you get into relationships with, and especially intimate relationships with. Like, just be so careful. Hold yourself to that higher standard. And I know it's hard because sometimes you want to dip your toe into that temptation and you want to feel all freaky deaky and whatever, but like, really hold yourself to a higher standard, please. Even if you're in high school and everyone else, and in college, and everyone else is talking about how so-and-so did it with so-and-so and so-and-so did it with so-and-so, and what they're not telling you is how so-and-so ended up in the hospital with things biting and crawling. Next. Number 21 is that you should always trust your intuition. And y'all know that saying, like, when somebody shows you themselves, believe them. Like, you have to. I have had so many relationships, friendships, where somebody has shown me a version of them and I'm just like, okay, well, I'm gonna give them the benefit of the doubt, knowing deep down inside I felt a certain way about that person for a reason, but I'm trying to give them the benefit of the doubt because I hold them to a higher standard than they held themselves. Once they do it again and they do it again and they do it again, that's where you have to like snap out of it and realize like you need to work on yourself, and my gut was right about you. Like, when somebody shows you who they are, you need to believe them, address it. If they do it again, girl, leave them in the dust, honestly. And I know I'm getting like so passionate about these, but like, I truly feel like so many younger women, especially, this can go for like men or women too, but so many younger women especially need to hear these things, because we just all need to have that like big sister figure, especially on social media with what is being pushed. And I hope that I just am that for some of you guys, like even your little sister if you're older than me. Like, I really just hope that this is helping someone in any way, because these life lessons have been so crucial for me. Number 22 is that you cannot find your happiness in other people. So a lot of the times, you know, we will be in friendships or relationships and we're always like, why do I just not feel like happy like talking to them or whatever. And it's like, who were they to be in charge of your happiness, girl? Go figure out something that makes you happy. Go do something that makes you happy. Like, some people are just so clingy and they literally don't even know what to do with themselves because they're so used to like sucking everyone else's energy out of them. This can go for friends or spouses, relationship partners, whatever. They come to you for all their happiness and they're like, oh, you control what you can control, and just realize that your happiness all has to do with you and what you pour into yourself, the way that you love yourself. Especially in relationships, I feel like sometimes, and I know I've been this person, you can get to a point where you're like I didn't feel all like lovey-dovey today or whatever, and it's like, okay, well, they told you that they loved you 100 times yesterday. You need to go do something to make yourself feel better and find happiness within yourself, because sometimes things are gonna feel normal and they're not always gonna feel so lovey-dovey and like cupids flying around y'all's heads and like everything like that. And you just have to realize that like, I am in charge of my happiness, and we would all be happier if I found happiness within myself and figured out what makes me happy. Number 23 that I've learned is that all relationships take so much work. You guys, I did not realize that I was a ghoster, okay? I have realized recently that when something's bothering me, or when I'm just like over something and I'm just like ready for, or if like I get annoyed and I can't express how I feel because I'm scared to communicate that, I will literally ghost so fast. Not really anymore. I try not to, but even in friendships, like I have definitely been a ghoster because I felt like if I have brung something up before and it wasn't even talked out, it was kind of like dismissed, I will definitely ghost in that situation. But y'all, I'm sorry, my voice is like scratchy. I think it's because I'm talking so much. But relationships, and like that's why they say marriage is hard, I'm not married, but that's why they say marriage is hard, is because relationships take so much work. Like, being single is honestly, this is why so many men are single too, is because that's the easiest thing that you could possibly be doing, because you're not having to commit yourself to someone else and work through certain problems and really like devote yourself to someone and be faithful and everything like that. Like, relationships are so much work because you genuinely have to serve the other person and like serve all their needs and like things like that. So just remember that even in friendships, you know, you guys are gonna gonna go through seasons where you do have arguments. You're gonna go through seasons where you guys are both busy and you might not be able to talk a lot, but all relationships, even with your mom, your dad, they take work, and you have to put the work in and you have to communicate. That's why they say communication is key, which is so much easier said than done. Number 24 is that ordinary people are always gonna make you feel crazy. That's because they're ordinary. And that can sound harsh if it sounds harsh, but it's true. If you have a life-size dream, nobody's gonna believe it until you put it into action, and you make, even if you don't barely believe it yourself, but you really want it to happen, you keep going and you keep working towards that thing every single day, and you make other people believe what they once didn't believe, like me working on social media, then they won't have anything to say, and then they'll be trying to hop on your back because you did something that they never could have done for themselves. And the last thing, and I could make so many more of these, but number 25 is that loving yourself is more than self-care. Okay, I know it's so easy to be like, oh, self-care, self-love, you know, go take a bubble bath and go do whatever, but it's also comes back to health. It comes back to how are you treating yourself, certain things like that. Like self-love is truly loving yourself, realizing that like you're the only one that's gonna love yourself more than anyone else can love you. And it's not just the aesthetic things like putting on makeup, because sometimes some girls will put on a whole thing of makeup and they stink. You go through this whole self-care day of getting your toes done, and then, you know, you might get a massage and whatever, but at the same time you're still speaking negative things over yourself. So it's not self-love. You really have to dig deep and really love yourself and set certain boundaries and do things that you don't feel like doing. That's what you do when you truly love yourself. Loving yourself is just so much deeper than the surface level, and you know, doing the healing and going to therapy and things like that, like that is truly self-love, because you care about yourself so much that you're willing to work through things that are hurtful or that you probably don't want to talk about. And just keep that in mind. Like, when you know how people are like, oh, I'm in my self-love journey, like girl, self-love is also not going out to the club every single night of the week and doing that either, because I've been there and done that, and that didn't make me feel any better either. So that's not self-love. Self-love is truly just pouring into yourself and finding hobbies, getting used to yourself, and just truly like being so secure within yourself that nobody else can come into your like vicinity and like pop your bubble. Like that's truly what like loving yourself is. But that's all that I have for this video, girl. This was literally so long. I'm so sorry, but like I truly feel so strongly about everything that I was talking about on here. So, but if you guys want to see another video like this or anything that's like in this genre of content, please let me know. I love you guys so much. Make sure you guys, if you made it all the way to the end of this video, comment down below a little pink bow emoji. That just lets me know that you're a real one, girl, and you made it all the way to the end of my video. So we are literally BFFs over here, okay? And also make sure you guys are following my TikTok and my Instagram. Just stay tuned for more content from me. Give me some ideas if you guys want to see certain content from me down below. You guys know I ask you that every single video. Don't forget to subscribe, girl, if you're not already subscribed. You already made it this far. We are literally best friends, sisters for life, so I don't know what you're waiting for. But I love you guys so much, and I will see you guys in my next video. Bye!